How's it going, you guys? So I was just getting ready to go to my jiu-jitsu class when I decided, unfortunately, to randomly browse through YouTube, and I happened to stumble upon this man's video. And this video is so hilarious, I could not help but share it. Okay, so this guy, his name is Master Herbalist on YouTube, and he has a lot of videos about curing and reversing different diseases using nutrition and herbs and natural protocols, which is something that I talk about a lot and I have been talking about for years. And it's something that I think is very important for people to understand and people to research, because herbs are very misunderstood, especially in the United States and the Western world. And herbs are very powerful, not only for preventing diseases, but for helping to treat them, for being used in addition to modern medicine to treat diseases, which I don't really advocate, I don't appreciate. I don't think modern medicine is necessary unless, except for, extreme cases. I think a lot of doctors are not trained in nutrition and they're not trained in these alternative therapies, and that's why they resort immediately to drugs and they have them remove their gallbladder if they have gallstones, remove their tonsils if they have chronic inflammation of the tonsils, and it's just unnecessary, and it's just, there's much easier and better ways, such as nutrition and herbs. And so I'm definitely not dogging on this guy for herbalism. It's his explanation on how things work and his misunderstanding of just biochemistry in general and his misunderstanding of the human biology, physiology, and his misunderstanding of how digestion works and nutrition works. And you're about to find out. It's hilarious, and it's crazy because this video has 1,000 likes and only 56 dislikes. So it's pretty obvious that the vast majority of people think that their stomach is a blender. Be prepared. This is the most dumb thing that you can ever see. Here we go.
Yes. Welcome and greetings in the name of the Most High, Jehovah. Today we're going to do a video, and it's very important. Just watch and listen.
Listen how serious this guy is. He's so serious.
Before we go to the video, though, conclusion, I have a lot of people to answer.
A very humble guy, insisting that you listen.
I'm going to answer everybody. Everything takes time. So I run a clinic, and the clinic I run is from 10 in the morning to 5.
The first 2 minutes of his video is him advertising his clinic and requesting donations in exchange for consultations over the internet. I don't think this guy understands, but at least in the United States, donations for medical consultations, it's still getting paid for practicing medicine, and it's probably not a good idea. But basically that's what he's going to do in the first 2 minutes, so I'm going to skip ahead. He's going to advertise his website, and he talks about giving medical advice in exchange for donations. So
books that you can read and get knowledge.
Oh my God.
Over here. And
okay,
talk today.
Alright, here we go.
This school of thought over here. This school of thought over here. And this school of thought over here. Right? And we're going to tell you why. Now these are organic tomatoes, and they've been here for a week. Been green. Now you see they get mushy. You see they get all sweaty yet and watery. Why? Because they are organically grown tomatoes. When you have the tomatoes that have lots of cells from the fish, because they take a fish cell and they put it in your tomatoes to carry it in a cold temperature. The problem with that is a fish cell not supposed to be in a tomato. So automatically the tomatoes start giving you lots of problems, and then when you put the chemicals in there.
Okay, this is a video about heart disease, by the way, just so you know how to prevent heart troubles, okay? By Master Herbalist Patrick Delves, okay? And I know if this guy sees this video, he's gonna have nothing beneficial or productive to say.
In 2 days, it swells up like water. This is organically grown tomatoes, all right? That's what we use in Grenada, organically grown foods, all right? Now this school of thought here, and this school of thought is different. This is called wing beans. You go tell the wing bean guns. This is organic.
I'm going to skip ahead because a lot of this is just unnecessary.
In the regular water. See? Oil and water don't mix it. See? See the fats? So when you eat your meat, you go tell the wing bean guns. This is organically grown to wing beans, we call it. Alright, don't forget that now. Then we have some sugar apple, and then we have coconut. They coconut milk, what they say. And then we have our drink of fruits. Now this over here now, I'm going to concentrate over here now. This guy over here, see me? That's cold water. Because that's what they all eat every day. See? See the fats? So when you eat your meals with fats in there, and you drink cold water with ice in the water, your meal become like this, and your heart become clogged up. Like that's
okay, so you see you put oil in cold water, and that is the equivalent of what happens when you eat oil and drink cold water. This is what happens to your heart. Your heart becomes a glass of cold water with fucking oil in it. And this is the guy's logic throughout the rest of the video. This explanation is, it's like, wow, bro, like, where'd you get your medical degree? Where'd you get your biochemistry degree? Where'd you get your nutrition degree? Where'd you get your degree in physiology? What books are you reading that are telling you your blood vessels, your arteries are anything close to a glass of water, okay? When you drink water, whether it has ice in it or not, it does not end up in your heart in the same form. Especially when you eat oil, when you consume oil, once it hits the digestion, it turns into smaller lipid compounds and different glycerol compounds, and it's broken down. And you're just saying oil, okay, but are we talking monounsaturated fats? Are we talking polyunsaturated fats? Are we talking long chain, short chain, medium chain? Are we talking polyunsaturated omega-6? Are we talking omega-3s? Are we talking C8 saturated fats or medium chain triglycerides? What are we talking about? He's just saying you drink cold water with oil, and this is what happened to your heart. And this video has, where it at now? This video has 1,000 likes, and only 22 dislikes. And this is the logic these people are a fan of. Why?
One, look at the same oil in the regular water. See? Oil and water don't mix them.
That doesn't have anything to do with what happens to your heart.
The average person in the Caribbean or in North America get up in the morning and they have this kind of meal here. Actually, I don't touch bacon now. I don't touch bacon.
Okay, so there's a lot of things wrong with this meal, first of all, okay? And he's going to say usually they eat a sausage patty or some pork. He says pork is the devil. Okay, that's weird, but so he's saying that this is the average meal that Americans and Jamaicans or whatever eat, and the Caribbeans, and there's a lot of things going on here. He's saying this is the reason why heart disease is such an epidemic, basically. This is what causes heart disease, is this type of meal. Here's the problem. First of all, those butter spreads that people use in their cooking to cook the eggs and that they put on top of toast, people don't use real butter anymore, first of all, okay? You can't even go to an actual restaurant and get real butter. You ask them for real butter, they don't even know what real butter is. If you were allergic to soy and you asked for butter, real butter, they'd give you soybean oil-based margarine, and you would have an anaphylactic shock. You would have an allergic reaction because they use soybean oil-based margarines with hydrogenated oils in it, which is now called mono and diglycerides, or artificially manufactured fats. And this is what people are eating in restaurants. Even steakhouses don't even keep real butter stocked. And this is what people are spreading on their toast. That's what's on here, okay? For most people, I guarantee you, I've seen it all my life. Everyone that I know has that's had heart disease, they eat a lot of toast with a lot of margarine spread on top, and they cook their eggs in margarine or vegetable oil, and then they put a ton of jelly on top, usually the cheap kind with high fructose corn syrup. Okay, not to mention these are refined carbohydrates here in the bread, and many people are intolerant to gluten and don't even know it. And if those are not real eggs, if they're egg scramblers, liquid eggs substitute like a lot of people use, those have their own set of negative effects. So yes, I agree, this meal here is going to cause a lot of disease. I don't think eggs are a contributing factor to heart disease. Eggs actually have mostly monounsaturated fats, the same kind that are found in olive oil. And olive oil, there's no denying, olive oil and other monounsaturated fats are strongly associated with longevity and low rates of disease. Okay, if you think for 1 second that all oil, including olive oil, is a major contributing factor to heart disease, how do you explain the French? How do you explain the Italians and Mediterranean countries, including Crete, which is a blue zone, largest population of centenarians, who eat mainly olive oil? Over 50% of their calories are coming from olive oil. Okay, and you're just saying, oh, all oils are bad because they clump up, like when they pour oil into water in your heart. Like, come on, guy.
I don't touch the pork. It's the devil. I don't touch it.
It's the devil.
They have eggs. They have cheese. They have bread with butter. And
now, cheese and dairy fats, there's a lot of debate on that, even amongst the low-carb crowd, because the main source of saturated fats in the American diet come from cheese and ice cream. Now, a lot of people don't know that. It's not butter, it's cheese and ice cream. And so in America, there is a large amount of saturated fat intake from all the cheese they add to their fast food and all the ice cream people eat on a regular basis. But is that the reason why people have heart disease? I don't know, considering the fact that as processed sugar goes up in the American diet and vegetable oils and omega-6 fats go up in the American diet, so do rates of heart disease. But back when butter was a main fat source and people ate more eggs, actually heart disease rates were much lower.
They have crackers. That's normal breakfast for an average person in the Caribbean or in North America. And they might have some ham, spam, hot dogs, whatever it is, right? And then they put it in a frying pan with butter. See?
Vegetable oil-based margarine.
Or oil.
Usually margarine, usually oil, not butter.
And then in Grenada or the Caribbean, they have something called Milo. Right here. And your chocolate. And your condensed milk. Yeah? And your white sugar. What will happen now?
Horrible. That's bad.
When you eat all of them together now, condensed milk with your Milo.
Who drinks condensed milk with their breakfast, out of all things? Regular milk.
In your blender. See how sticky it is already? See how sticky it is already? See?
Okay.
See how hard it is already?
You're going to make a smoothie?
It didn't even know they have look at how they get it already.
What does that have to do with heart disease?
That's a tea now.
What does this have to do with heart disease?
As a dessert. And you put some white sugar.
Some high-level science
That
experiment.
is 2 tablespoons of white sugar. That is 28 grams of sugar already. You must get diabetes that thing.
This guy's a
Then
genius.
your bread, your eggs, and your crackers.
Damn, that's one hell of a smoothie. Never had that for breakfast. Never seen anything like that in my life. That is one hell of a
Now,
smoothie.
when you do this, and you pour this into your belly, into your system, into your stomach, your heart gets messed up. Look at the way over here.
Oh my god!
When you put this in your system,
Look
with
at
condensed milk, and
he is truly a student of the science game. Seriously, I don't know about the Caribbean, but in America, we never make smoothies like that, ever. I've never seen someone put crackers, bread, eggs, bacon in a smoothie, ever. Okay, unless you're a complete moron, I think you'll find very easily, even if you're a vegan, what the problem with this guy's logic is. Obviously, a blender is not the equivalent of the human stomach. When you put something in a blender, it blends together, okay? When you put that combination of food in the human digestive tract, there's all different kinds of enzymes, stomach acid. Where's a hydrochloric acid? If you would have put an enzyme capsule in there with some hydrochloric acid and then blended it up, maybe it would have been a better explanation. This has nothing to do with the human digestive tract, the stomach, the digestive process, and then how does that equal heart disease? Okay, a bunch of random foods blended up in a blender is not the equivalent of all those foods being put in the stomach, going through the chewing process, being broken down by hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and then pepsin and amylase and all the enzymes, breaking it down further. These larger proteins are broken down into smaller peptides and then into amino acids, and then absorbed into the bloodstream. And then these carbohydrate foods, some people can't digest wheat or whole grains at all, and so they just they poop it out undigested. Some people, including myself, while other people, the amylase and the bacteria in the intestines break it down into glucose molecules, or different saccharide compounds, which get absorbed through the intestine and then absorbed into the bloodstream and used as glucose. And then these fats, they go depending on what type of fat we're talking about. He never specified what type of oil or what type of butter it is, but it depends. Some fats like coconut oil and certain medium chain triglycerides and short chain fatty acids too, I believe. They can bypass certain parts of the digestive process. There's a lot of things that happen from the stomach to the heart. You don't just eat like that blended weird breakfast smoothie he made and then voila, you have heart disease. And now look, this guy has like an atlas of the human body. Like, it doesn't seem to be helping him too much.
All this here, all the organs get clogged up. All the organs, the liver,
the organs get clogged up magically.
Your spleen, your pancreas, your gallbladder, you get gallstones. Your heart gets messed up too, because all these things here, they clog up the arteries.
Wow.
They clog it up.
Wow.
And then you're trying to figure out why you're getting heart disease, and you're trying to figure out why you're getting diabetes, and when you're getting gallstones.
I thought this was a joke when I first watched it.
That's when you're getting gallstones. See that here? See?
A glass of water with oil in it. No one drinks that, first of all. Second of all, like, really, that's why you'll get the gallbladder. It all makes sense now. It's like this guy is always high on marijuana. And he's just like, whoa, look what happened when you pour the oil into the water. That must be how we get heart disease and gallstones. Dude, oil is digested and it's metabolized into smaller compounds, and it depends on what type of fats we're talking about here, what happens from there. Okay, and heart disease, what type of heart disease are we talking about? Are we talking about arterial plaquing? Okay, there's a deeper, more complex process that happens to arteries before you get heart disease, okay? The plaques that develop first are caused by damage to the arteries, okay? They're not just clogged up magically because you drank a glass of water with oil in it, okay? Omega-6 fats tend to actually cause inflammation, generally the byproducts of omega-6 metabolism, or because you have more omega-6 that require more omega-3s, such as DHA and EPA, in order to offset these omega-6s. You need more omega-3s, and without that, these omega-6s could build up in the system. They tend to cause inflammation through various mechanisms, and that is after they're digested and metabolized. Okay, when you eat oil, it doesn't just go through your stomach and go through your intestines and then stay oil. Okay, when you eat oil, it doesn't just stay oil and then like build up in your arteries like a glass of water with oil in it. Holy crap.
That's why the arteries being clogged up. Because you're putting all these things in your stomach. And when they get to the stomach, they look like this. And they get thick. And when they get thick, you know what happens to you? You start to get troubles in your heart.
Wait, they turn into ticks, and then you get parasitical infections, and then you get heart disease. What do you mean they get tick?
You start to get troubles.
Oh, they get thick. They get thick. Right.
And the arteries kind of clog it up.
Wow.
So you get what we call coronary
I'm enlightened.
artery disease.
Wow.
Or you get angina.
Look how smart he thinks
he
he is.
Pressure. Or you get diabetes.
It's like, oh, I'm a genius.
See what I mean? Look at it. What's that?
I've solved the problem. Holy crap.
Now you tell me something about your heart. You think your heart will love this? Your heart can never love this. Never ever. Your heart will love this. This is what? Fruits, apples, pears, berries, what's in there? And a piece of what? Ginger. To move the blood. So when you go stack up this against this against this, which one is more effective for your heart? Which one is more effective for your liver? Which one is more effective for your spleen and your pancreas and your gallbladder? Which one is more effective for your intestine? Which one? This one or this one? Which one moves faster from the stomach to the intestines? This one or this one? Which one clogs up your arteries and give you coronary artery disease and heart attack and strokes? This one or this one? You make your choice now. That's what it is. See? And then you have your fattening meal for your lunch now. Gravies, fried foods, fried fish, fried plantain.
Okay, you guys, I think it's pretty clear where this video is headed. If you guys want to watch the rest of the video, you can check it out on his channel. I don't think that this type of nonsense should be supported. Like, if the guy actually would just take the time to understand at least how basic digestion works, and understand that when you consume food, it is broken down before being absorbed into the bloodstream, I think that maybe he would be less laughable. Because I'm all for herbal medicine, absolutely, and I think herbalism is great. But when you have people like this who are pushing herbal medicine, think about what the skeptical, like, science community probably thinks about alternative medicine. If this guy was a spokesman for alternative medicine, that would be very, very sad. This is why people need to research mechanistic data, they need to understand physiology, and they can't just be basing their ideas on personal experience or anecdotes. It's not because anecdotes are not valuable, it's because typically it's not the result that people want to know that is important, but how you got that result. And I notice a trend with all these master herbalist disease pioneer. I notice that they tend to be like, oh my god, I reversed this disease in this patient because the human body is electrical. Like Dr. CB and his electrical shocker diet. Or like, you know, we need to be alkaline, you know, type of nonsense. The blood should be alkaline, but the stomach should not. Okay, but this guy doesn't even know what stomach acid is, clearly, and that's probably why they can easily think it's, you know, the whole body should be alkaline. But regardless, this is clearly nonsense. And so, like, yeah, there's Dr. Esselstyn, who has a, you know, plenty of research and clinical trials showing that a vegan diet seems to reverse coronary artery disease. And I personally am not vegan whatsoever. I don't think anyone needs to be vegan, but I've stumbled upon quite a few people's experiences who have used Dr. Esselstyn's vegan heart disease protocol with great success, and they've successfully reversed heart disease. And I've seen some pretty shady practices in mainstream medicine in this case. And so I'm not denying the possibility that eating nothing but, what is this, like apple and grape smoothies or something could possibly reverse heart disease. Like, I would imagine if you remove the polyunsaturated omega-6 oils and the high glycemic load, particularly the processed carbohydrates and the things that have been proven without a shadow of a doubt to cause most diseases. I think it's pretty, and then not to mention you're probably in a caloric deficit, okay? Calorie deficit tends to, prevent a large majority of diseases regardless of the quality of food they're eating. And so if someone just goes on a fruit smoothie fast like this guy seems to be promoting, or I guess, he just throw it in a blender, right? Then, you're probably restricting calories, and you're eating more fiber and antioxidants, and the fiber could slow down the rate of absorption of these sugars, I suppose, or at the very least, you're not giving your body the protein it needs and essential fatty acids. So, I suppose since you're starving, it's impossible to create more arterial plaque. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is it's highly, I'm not doubting the effectiveness of doing this fruit vegetable diet nonsense that these raw vegan people promote. Like, for heart disease, maybe it'll stop the progression of it or reverse it, but I don't think this blender analogy is the reason why people get heart disease. I don't think fat just like floats or clogs up your arteries the way that it does a glass of water. I think this is just completely dumb. And what is crazy to me, the craziest thing in life to me, is the extreme ignorance of society. Like, again, it's not an anti-vegan thing at all. Like I said, I don't doubt the effectiveness of this, but his explanation, how the hell could somebody who doesn't even know what hydrochloric acid is, doesn't know how fats and proteins are digested in the stomach, how can he have 1,000 likes on this video and only 22 dislikes and 72,000 subscribers? Is it all people in third world countries who believe in this? Because you could literally just do a Google search on how fats are digested and absorbed, and you could do a Google search on arterial plaquing and the process that causes it. I think even Dr. Esselstyn, the vegan guru, I think even he outlined in one of his lectures the process of inflammation, and then the patching with cholesterol, which can build up over time, and collagen and calcium deposits that try to patch up the scarring and damage in the arteries. It's a process, and it does not involve oil just randomly floating around your arteries like a glass of water mixed with oil, or blended eggs with toast and crackers. So I hope you guys got a good laugh out of this. I think the only people who can believe something like this are just people with an IQ level below 70, or people who are just high and they're just believe anything, I guess. This guy is so convinced. He's like, yeah, oh my god, you guys, it's so obvious. You blend up the eggs and that causes heart disease. What the fuck, bro? What the hell? Holy crap. This guy is believing this. And praise Jehovah, he says, pork is the devil. Master Herbalist, everyone. I have solved the epidemic of heart disease with this blender right here. The human stomach is the same thing as a blender. Your gallbladder literally acts like a glass of water. Master Herbalist, Patrick Delves. You heard it from the man, the PhD genius himself. So leave your question in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Holy crap. Please, somebody tell me, what do you think? How do people come to this extreme ignorance? Do they just assume that all the science is a conspiracy? And if so, how can you just trust that the stomach is like a blender? How can you believe this nonsense, really? It's one thing to just be like, oh, science is all twisted. It's another thing to just think, oh, my stomach is like a blender, even though I have no evidence to support that. and it doesn't even sound like it makes sense? Let me know.